Welcome to A Mind for Life. We are out here today at the estuary, and this is a new era. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what's going on. This is November of 2020. So we all have been through many different things, and A Mind for Life is a part of the new era. I believe we're going into a new time and a new era right now. So A Mind for Life is back. We're going to be uploading videos on the Cosmology, okay? So the Cosmology is a series of videos that is going to become a book. So we want to let you know that too. The Cosmology will be a book, and we are going to be bringing back the series. Go back and watch the previous videos in this series, because let me say this, as I've said before, the Cosmology is offering philosophical, spiritual technology, okay, to help you become better, to have a better life. That's what the Cosmology is really doing. That's what it's about, okay? This is not a guru channel. I'm not giving you all the answers, all right? This is not a place where you come to get the answer to your question. This is a place where you come to have yourself stimulated to where the answer is brought forth out of you. Okay, so we're in a bit different setting today. I wanted to do something different as coming back into these videos. We will be back inside, but today I wanted to be out here. Maybe in the next video or two, I may be outdoors. It's pretty nice now. Okay, so here's the idea. We're going to get into this aspect called emotions right now. Okay, emotions are very important, and I've talked about this before. Remember, I said to you guys that emotions are the telescope to the universe, this universe, not this one, but this one. All right. Emotions are the telescope to the universe. What does that mean? Emotions are the telescope to the universe. Emotions show you what you really know. Emotions show you what you really believe. And what's really important is that emotions show you your true perspective on things. Okay. That's what emotions are, and we're sort of giving a functional definition of what emotions are. Okay, so let's get into knowledge, belief, and perspective, because this is what the emotions reveal. It reveals what you know. You may think, okay, I know it because I'm thinking about it, and no, you can't use your thoughts to figure out what you know. That's something that's very important to understand. It's very circular. You're using the same thoughts to figure out your thoughts. You need something from the outside to reveal the truth about what your thoughts are and what you know. What you know. Knowledge is practice thought. Knowledge is practice thoughts. Thoughts that you've practiced so much that they become a part of who you are. That's really what knowledge is. We can't say we know something if it's not a part of who we are. If we mix it up and we get confused, we really don't know it, do we? For example, if you're taking a test and the teacher mixes the test up, you learned it this way, but say the teacher goes at the end and puts the end at the top, mixes up the questions, rephrases the questions, etc., and you get confused. That means you really didn't know the test. You really didn't know it. You didn't know the material. When you know the material, you can take it forwards and backwards. This is when we would say, oh yeah, they really know it. They know it by heart. They really know it. Same thing with music. If you play an instrument and if they take the chorus and make it the top of the song instead of the verse, now you get confused because you learned it a certain way. But if you really know it, if you've practiced it enough, you can do it in different orders. It doesn't matter. You can come in at any section and take it right from there. Oh yeah, you really know this. That's knowledge. Knowledge is practice thought. Practice thought. I'm not saying it's true or false, and this is going to be important for this video. I'm not saying it's true or false. If you know something, you can know something that's not true. So-and-so knows that, but that's not the truth now. Or it was never the truth, or used to be the truth, but they still know it, but it's not the truth. The earth is flat, then it's round, etc. We can go through all of that. Let's go into belief. Belief is covenant knowledge. Belief is knowledge that you've come into an agreement with. It's knowledge that you says, Yes, I agree with that knowledge. I'm not talking about what's true or false. Many people believe things about situations or people or things that aren't true, but they believe it. A lot of children believe in Santa Claus, but it's obvious it's not true. So belief is just those thoughts you've practiced enough to where they become something you know and you agree with it. Yeah, I agree. You could say, yeah, I know there's a Santa Claus because I've heard this over and over, but I don't believe that. Or you can say, yeah, I've heard this over and over and I've thought about it, that there's a Santa Claus, yeah, and I come into agreement with it. Doesn't mean the knowledge itself is absolutely true. It just means you're in agreement with what you know. That means that you are in agreement with the thoughts you've practiced. Let's go into perspective. Perspective, and I've talked about this many times, perspective is just how you see something. I read a whole book on perspective. It's called A Mind for Life. It's what this channel is named after, okay? Perspective is just how you see something. It's your point of view. And what perspective is in this context, perspective is belief that's applied. Your belief, when it becomes applied, becomes a perspective. So you believe a certain thing and you say, yeah, I come into an agreement with this knowledge, and this is the way I cast my belief upon my experience or things or people or places or groups or whatever the case may be. You've casted that experience upon. That is your perspective. Now, the thing is this, because we are with ourselves 24/7, 365, it's not so easy to know what our thoughts, our beliefs really are. Our perspectives. We can have a perspective on something and not really know that we have that perspective. We can have practiced thoughts, and check this out. We can have practiced thoughts and not really realize that this is what we know. We can have practiced thoughts by having conversations, by watching certain things, by hearing certain, by reading, whether it's absolutely true or not, or whether we have come into a real conscious agreement with it. We can know it and come into that and have a perspective on it. And we don't know what our perspective is because we're so close to ourselves. So we're talking about tests and music, but life is the same thing. What you know sets the limits of your life experience. And you may say, how is that? See, we're with ourselves all the time. So it's not so easy to know what we believe all the time because we're with ourselves all the time. And we're using the same thinking to figure out what we're thinking. Can you see a problem with that? There has to be something that comes from without that lets us know what we really think or what we really believe. And this is where emotions come in, because emotions reveal that. Oftentimes in experience, emotions will reveal the truth of how we really see something, a person, place, a thing, or situation. Emotions will reveal that. For example, if you're in nature and you see a bear, now you might have practiced thoughts that bears they don't care about people. They ain't going to chase people. They're not going to bite people. If they see you, they'll run away. You may have practiced those thoughts. You may say, I know that. I agree with that. I think that's true. I come into agreement with this knowledge that bears are harmless. This is my perspective. So when you go in nature, you're not worried because your perspective is that bears don't bother people. But when you see a bear, boom, right there, you freak out. You get scared. What does that tell you? It tells you your emotions are revealing to you what you really, what your perspective really is, what you really believe and what you really know. You really didn't know that bears are the way they are. You didn't know that. You practiced those thoughts, but you didn't really know it, okay? Because when you saw the bear, you got scared. But you said that I'm cool with bears because they do this and do that. But when you saw it, you got scared. Now, if you spend time around bears, you may change that. Your perspective may change, which means that the thoughts you are practicing about bears may change because of your experience, you see? So you may have a different belief and see things differently. It sounds very simple, but it's not so simple when our life situations keep repeating themselves and we don't like where we are. We don't like who we're around. We can't understand how we can't break through this situation. It keeps happening over and over. And I'm telling you here, it's because you don't know how to do it differently. You just don't know. You don't know how to do it differently. And you may say, oh, I can think about this and I can have an idea and I can see how it can do. You're parroting information. I used to have a chemistry professor that says, I'm going to mix this test up because I want to make sure you guys are not parroting like a bird parroting the information back. I want to make sure you really know it. We can say we know something, but if our life experience doesn't reflect that knowledge, we don't know it. We don't know it if our life experience does not reflect that knowledge. And that is so crucial. That's the breakthrough. And how do we know if we know or not? Emotions. Your emotions are the telescope to your universe. This is going to explain to you or reveal to you why my life is the way it is in a positive or in a way that you don't like. Your emotions are going to reveal that. And what is revelation? This is a big word, maybe it's not. Revelation, what I'm going to say, revelation is a disclosure. It's a disclosure of information, maybe even truth, without mental effort. Revelation is disclosure of information or truth without mental effort. And that's what your emotions are doing. It's disclosing what you really know. It's disclosing your real beliefs and your real perspectives, apart from what you've parroted back that you know or you believe. Let's see what you really know. Let's see what you really believe. We can see that through revelation, which is what emotion does. For example, if there's a table here, and I ask you, I have a sheet on the table, and I ask you, what color is the table? No amount of thinking or mentalizing is going to tell you what color that table is. You won't know what the table is until I pull the sheet off. Once I pull the sheet off the table, the color of the table has been revealed. You didn't have to figure it out. You didn't have to visualize. You didn't have to compare, contrast. You didn't have to gather data and do research. You didn't have to do any of that kind of stuff because the sheet was pulled off the table and you saw what color it is. This is what emotions do with what you know. This is what emotions do with your true perspectives and beliefs. It pulls the sheet off. So emotions play a very big role. Now, let me say this. Mentalizing is just you're repeatedly thinking about a subject, a person, a group, a subject, a thing. You're repeatedly thinking about this. It's continuous. You're visualizing. That's a mentalizing. You're analyzing. Oh, let me break it down. That's mentalizing. You're compare, contrast. Oh, you're this and this is this and this is that. You're compare, contrast. All of that is what I call mentalizing. Mentalizing is not going to give you direct knowledge. Mentalizing is important, but mentalizing is not going to let you know what the truth of your beliefs are. Believe it or not, you can't figure this out. You think you can figure out what you believe? You cannot. It has to be revealed to you what you really believe because you're too close to the information. There's a conflict of interest. You're with yourself 24/7. It's not so easy. It's that revelation that comes in and says, oh, mentalizing is a good thing. We're not saying mentalizing is a bad thing. Mentalizing is good because what mentalizing does is it creates causal relationship knowledge, quote unquote. In other words, it allows you to establish causality. If I walk in the water, then I get wet. It doesn't tell me what water is. It doesn't tell me what wet really is. If I flip this light switch, the lights come on. It doesn't tell me what the mechanics of the circuitry of the wires and the lights are. I just have established a causal relationship. So mentalizing is good for establishing causal relationships, although not giving you direct knowledge of the things within the causal relationship. Mentalizing is good to create knowledge. Yes, mentalizing creates knowledge. I didn't say truth, I said knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge are thoughts that are repeated over and over again. Okay, so this is what mentalizing does. It helps to create knowledge. It helps to create knowledge. It helps you to be able to say, yes, I'm reading this. Yes, I'm comparing, I'm contrast. Yes, I'm gathering data. Yes to all of these things that will create information that's a part of who you are. For example, affirmations are forms of creating a knowledge within yourself. I am great, I am great, I am great. You may not really believe you're great, but if you keep saying I am great, it eventually becomes a part of who you are. You've practiced that thought over and over again till it becomes a part of who you are. Now that can become your belief, and your perspective on life can change because you have a new belief, a new perspective. You have practiced those thoughts. Mentalizing is also good because mentalizing sets the framework for the breakthrough. Mentalizing can be a great thing in that if you compare contrast, you think about it, you analyze it, you visualize it over and over again, you may not get the breakthrough, but it's creating an environment for that revelation to come in. Oftentimes we've heard about people who've worked on the problem, and maybe you've worked on the problem over and over and over and over again, and they just didn't get the answer. They went to sleep and they dreamed about it. That breakthrough happened. It was revealed. Remember, revelation is a disclosure. It's a disclosure of information or truth without mental effort. So all of that thinking, all of that research you did, all of that planning you did create a situation where you had a breakthrough. So that's where your mentalizing is important. But let's not confuse mentalizing with direct knowledge. Let's not confuse mentalizing with knowing the thing itself. I can have a person in a box in my mind and put them in a category and react to them and act towards them according to the category in my mind. But that tells me nothing about what that person is really about. Same thing with this bear. Remember the bear? I have this category in my mind. I've mentalized this, but it has nothing to do with the bear itself. This particular bear may be aggressive, but this one may not. I won't know that unless that is revealed to me. Oh, I see this bear. That's a revelation. That's something that's being revealed to you. Like, for example, you cannot know God through mentalizing. God reveals himself to you through the spirit, through relationship. Mentalizing cannot. You can think about God all day long. You can philosophize as much as you want, but you won't know God through mentalizing. It is known, God is known through revelation. God reveals himself to you. So this brings us to the end of the video. And I wanted to bring up this whole idea of mentalizing because this is going to lead us into the next series of videos, which are going to be on old and new logic. Okay, this is very important. Old and new logic. What we're doing on this channel involves new logic. All right, it doesn't involve the old paradigm of logic. I think we're in a new era now. I think most of you guys will admit that, yes, things have changed. It's maybe we're in an alternate reality, but things have changed, and that is in league with this channel. Okay, so that's it for this video on emotion. Go back and watch the video. I know I laid a lot of concepts in there, but keep in mind, A Mind for Life is a study. It's a study. Pull out your paper and your pen. It's a study. Okay, so enjoy the nature background, and we're going to see you in the next video, which will be on, which may be a series of videos on old versus new logic. Okay, A Mind for Life. Peace out.